not least, we're going to move across to Snap Finger Click. So I would like to welcome Martijn, who is the studio co-founder and development director at Snap Finger Click, who I'm going to have a chat with now, and his colleague Joanna, who is the design director, is also going to be in the chat. So if you do have any questions that you'd like to ping into the chat, then Joanna can answer those. But I might just kick off asking sort of, could you tell us a little bit about what you do at Snap Finger Click, please, Martijn?
Yeah, sure. So we're a relatively small studio, definitely smaller than TT Odyssey and Unity. So we're with 11 people in total, but often that scales up because we work with a lot of like freelancers. We specialize in local multiplayer games, so we're very passionate about basically getting together with your friends on the sofa, playing party games. We've been around for almost 5 years now, but most of us originally worked on the Buzz Quiz franchise on PlayStation, which is quite popular. And our games, in a way, are a little bit similar to that vibe. So, we released multiple games on console, a game called It's Quiz Time, released a party game called Awkward for slightly older audiences, a game called Acted Out, which is based on charades and Pictionary. But yeah, we're very passionate about these types of games, and that's our focus as a studio, and that's also like our long-term plan.
Brilliant. And could you tell us about the different sorts of roles that you have in your studio? I appreciate it's a smaller team, but sort of what functionalities do you have?
Yeah, sure. So quite a few of us are engineers. We've got an artist as well, a 3D artist. We've got an audio person. We've got someone who purely looks after all the business side of things. And we also employ a few Twitch streamers, actually. Okay.
And you mentioned before that you hire quite a lot of freelancers, and I know that we've got a number of freelancers who have joined us for this chat. So could you tell us a little bit about how you go about hiring freelancers and the sorts of roles that you look for?
Yeah, sure. So a lot of it comes down to sort of public exposure. So how much exposure do you have as a freelancer? Because usually we start looking for people. So it's quite often the case that putting up a job ad on our own website is a little bit too slow. Like typically it's like, oh, we need another engineer. Okay, what is the best place to find this engineer? And we've used Twitter a lot. So people just being very smart with certain hashtags. For a project, we needed a pixel artist. So we literally just went to Twitter, search for hashtag pixel art, look for the best portfolio, emailed that person, and that's the person that we hired for a project. Yeah, for artists, definitely have a portfolio like on ArtStation or something like that. We think that the personality of someone is incredibly important for us as a team, especially because we're relatively small, but we try to find out quite a bit about a potential candidate, which sounds a bit scary maybe, but we look at like what they post about on Twitter. We look at LinkedIn profiles quite a lot. And yeah, having that exposure, like being quite visible, helps us a lot in making the hiring decision on someone.
Brilliant, thank you. And I guess if you are a freelancer, we've got a thing on our website where you can sign up and put your CVs and things like that, so that studios can pull you from there as well. Because I guess one slight challenge maybe with Twitter is that I know that there's a huge focus on the diversity at the moment, and we've spoken a lot about I know we've spoken about people moving into the industry, so that's just another avenue, I suppose, to explore. I guess, could you sort of give any insights into how that sort of changes your dynamics as a team as you sort of grow and expand with freelancers? And I know that sort of values and culture tends to be, particularly important within the games industry. So how does that sort of affect things as you sort of grow with new freelancers? And
well, it's scary. I think, having that type of personality that we're looking for can still be quite difficult to figure out. Like, we need we need people to be quite independent in a way. So not having people look after them. I think it's a line on our website where I still sometimes ponder if it's a bit too aggressive, but it's like, we're not really the type of company where people just have a to-do list and it's like, okay, I've done my to-do list, what's next? Like we do a lot of prototyping, a lot of things are quite experimental within Snap Finger Click. We work on multiple projects quite often. We have projects that sometimes get paused for over a year. So we just stop working on it because we were not entirely sure if it's good enough, and then we move on to something else. But yeah, you need to be quite comfortable with like a work environment like that. Like even though, well, I'm the boss, but there are people, like I want people to counter argue with me when they think I'm wrong, and I want people to be confident to do things like that. And the other way around, it's like, be sort of assertive about your opinion. And like we focus a lot on building the confidence for people to actually be able to sort of express their opinion, but also be comfortable about making mistakes, because that's a normal part of building games. Like things go wrong, or you build something that's maybe not as much fun as you anticipated, or whatever. In the end, it's a creative process. And again, learning to admit that something might be wrong or not good enough is also a skill that we're looking for. So obviously, like the bigger you get as a company, the more voices there are, and that's just a delicate thing for us to balance based on the people that we hire.
And I hear so much, within the games industry, that there is this, there is a culture around wanting people to experiment, to try new things, to fail sometimes. That could be quite daunting, I suppose, as a candidate to put in an application or in an interview. So, would you advise people to sort of to case study that when they're sort of putting together their cover letters or in the interview? Like how, I guess you don't want to sort of reveal all of your weaknesses, but also I hear from the companies that actually it's that ability to fail and learn and retry that actually is really valuable to them.
Yeah, and yeah, it is really valuable. It's like prototyping is such a big part in the game industry anyway, and building a prototype also means accepting that maybe the majority of those prototypes won't work. So any personal experience that people have with things like that is just, really valuable. Like, how do you assess that something maybe isn't good enough, or something is good enough? Like like for its quiz time, our quiz game, we released a game with maybe 10 or 11 different rounds in it. I think we had maybe over 20 originally in total, and we just kept cutting rounds where it was like, this just isn't fun enough. And obviously you have to be quite, sort of have to set rules for yourself, because in the end, it's like building 20 rounds can take up so much development time, where it's like, okay, we've got 20 rounds, we've got time to build about 10. So which ones are we going to cut? And again, doing that or going through that process is a skill, and actively thinking about like, okay, so how do we actually decide what the best round is and what's the process for that? But you sort of have to figure out these things on your own. You really need to be quite confident in sort of having your own voice there.
So you think it's okay to sort of to highlight perhaps in an application or in an interview where something maybe hasn't gone as you would expect, and to give maybe the reasons for that and what you learned and how you would do it differently? That would, if someone put that in a cover letter, would that sort of, I'm thinking what people could sort of include when applying for a job with you that would sort of reflect some of that culture that you have.
No, I think it's I think it's pretty impressive actually if someone is willing to like openly say like, hey, like I know a story of someone who actually left their full-time job with some savings to start just building their own games, where it's like, hey, cool, I want to be an indie developer, I'm going to build my own game. Worked on the game for maybe 6 or 7 months, and in the end it's like, he just couldn't get it to work. And it's like, and then he started working somewhere else. But just having experience like that is incredibly valuable. It's sort of like a hard life lesson, but still, like things like that is really valuable for us. Like people who've gone through that experience and actually sort of had to acknowledge that some things maybe didn't work. But yeah, like that sort of ties into finding your own voice and being able to sort of speak up and sort of figure out where stuff works well or doesn't work well.
And when you talk about that person who is sort of developing their own game, do you would you recommend someone starting to build their own games themselves? Do you sort of take how much value do you put on something that someone's made themselves as opposed to something that's been made with another studio or in a professional environment?
It depends a bit on the role. Like I think when sure, it's really interesting if you're able to make your own like small games, maybe to highlight your own art, but it's not necessarily something we look for. When you're an engineer, I think it's really valuable. And obviously, you don't have to create the next Grand Theft Auto on your own. It's like just stick to like something small, so you get a sense of, okay, this is something I'm going to do for maybe 2 months or a month, like in the evening in my spare time or something. If you already have something else that's taking up all your time, then yeah, it's really valuable to just see like small game concepts that people have made. And especially if you're an engineer and you're like if you can share like the source code of your little project, then that's super valuable for us, because the quality of code is really important for us as well. Like I said, if you're an artist, then I think just having a good portfolio website really helps. Someone asked me some time ago where it's like, oh, should I have as an artist, like should I have a portfolio, an art station, because maybe I should build my own portfolio website? It's like, no one can be bothered with that. It's like, as far as I know, most recruitment people don't care about like, oh, you must have your own portfolio website. It's like, just go on ArtStation, just find the most efficient solution for you as an individual. I think most studios get a lot of applications from composers as well. Again, getting your music up and running on a website is pretty straightforward. I know someone who just created mock audio tracks for existing games and game trailers and things like that, and got hired that way. Anything to show off your work instead of us just sort of looking at like a CV and there's no example of what they've done. It's really valuable.
Brilliant, thank you. And I was seeing then some questions coming in earlier around, that IP. So, if there is games that have already been made, I guess music's a great example. Can you, if someone were to put their own music over the top of that, how would you feel about that? Like seeing someone imposing things onto a game that's already been created?
Yeah, no, I think that's perfectly fine. It's just to showcase your work. Like I know a graphic artist who actually on his portfolio website just did like fake commissions almost, where it's like, oh, redesign My Little Pony, or redesign, how would you redesign the Nike logo, which is such an iconic. And they're just challenges he set for himself. Obviously some brands might not be happy with that, but on our end, like I don't really care, to be honest. Like also with our own games, where it's like, hey, I looked at your awkward game, I've seen the trailer, you know what, I redid the music for it, what do you think? And yeah, that's perfectly fine. I think that's pretty cool, and it's a good way to show off your skills.
Brilliant, thank you. Well, that was super helpful. I can see lots of questions coming in that Joe's been handling. So a massive thank you to you, and a massive thank you to Joe for joining us today.